Hello everyone, it's me SkingloNafro and welcome back to my YouTube channel, and I wanted to discuss the whole situation that's going on in Barbados with people who are flouting the quarantine rules. However, it's not just going on in Barbados, it's also happening in other islands, but I wanted to do my main focus on Barbados as that's a part of my heritage. It just really bothers me that people are going to these islands knowing full well we're in a pandemic, and they don't seem to realise that we're in a pandemic. We are. Love Island star, I use the term star loosely, Zara Holland, basically her boyfriend was tested positive for COVID-19. So then they basically decided not only to break quarantine, but to get into a taxi, which put the taxi man at risk of COVID-19. And then they rocked up to the airport, which basically put the people who work at the airport, who dealt with them, put them at risk as well. So let me just repeat that, just in case you didn't understand me. Her boyfriend tested positive for COVID-19. They got into a taxi after they broke quarantine. They got into a taxi, took that taxi to the airport, and not only did they expose the taxi driver and any other passengers who were coming into contact with that taxi driver, but they also exposed the employees who work at Granny Adams International Airport. And basically, once the people of Barbados found Zara Holland's Instagram page, it was over and done with. It was basically over and done with because the Sun newspaper was the one that basically exposed that it was Zara Holland, because I believe it's slightly different I think there's slightly different media rules with regards to, you know, saying which person did such and such, yeah. Every country has its own individual rules with regards to censorship and letting people know which person has done whatnot. But I'm just glad that the Sun basically said it, because I'm just like, you're absolutely taking the piss. That's what you're doing. You're taking the piss, because I don't understand how you can think it's acceptable to go to a Caribbean island and do what you did. It's actually madness. To go to an island and think, oh yeah, let me just go for like my little vacation, because it does not matter. It does matter. You don't seem to realize a lot of us are of Caribbean heritage, and we are not able to go back home to visit our family members because of this pandemic. We are literally saying we're going to stay at home, as frustrating as it is, because we want to see our family members, because this is a scary time, and not being able to see our family members, and they're aging. And you know, when you're elderly family members, it would just take one time for something to happen, and then that's it, they're gone. And this is why we want to be able to see them, but we are choosing to stay at home because we know it's the safest thing to do to protect our vulnerable family members. And yet there are people who have no ties to the Caribbean who are just flouting over there and taking an absolute piss. You were taking absolute piss. Like, how dare you visit these islands and then just spread the COVID-19? They don't have the infrastructure like these countries like here in the UK and America do. They don't have that same infrastructure, and yet even we in the UK, the NHS, the National Health Service, is floundering. Okay, it can't take any more. Yesterday, they announced on the radio that there had been 56,000 new COVID cases. Yes, December 31st, 2020, 56,000 new cases. And what was it, 900 and something deaths? And yet you are still having parties, and you're still going to the Caribbean, and you don't give a shit. It's really irritating me. How are you having a party with so many people in the middle of a pandemic, when you know the NHS is basically crumbling? And then to top it off, you go into these parties Yeah, so many people are asystematic, which means they show no visible signs, but they have the virus within them. And then you're bouncing off to the Caribbean. And of course you're going to test positive because you may not show no signs and symptoms, but you're still freaking positive. And this is the thing, you may be fine by being asystematic, but the person that you come across may not be fine. They just have to come across you, and then that's it, their life is over. Because even people are surviving COVID-19, a lot of them are having long-term health conditions. How can you be so selfish? Seriously, how can you be so selfish to go to a Caribbean island that you know cannot handle the level of cases that are here in the UK? We can barely handle it. We can barely handle it. And you think they will be able to handle it because you decided to go onto a freaking little vacation so you can have black people waiting you hand and foot. Newsflash, slavery is over. They're not supposed to be dealing with you on hand and foot or whatever. Are you people okay? Are you people okay? I swear it's like the colonizer gene is just strong within your spirits. Because back in the day, we know for well it was white people who was carrying around all those plagues. The bubonic plague and all such and such. And now you're carrying around the COVID-19 as if you're like Lisa Stanfield, like I've been around the world in 90 fucking days. See, what the hell is wrong with you people? Why can you not sit at home? I understand you want to go on holiday, but you can go to places where you live. It's not as if you can't go to places where you live, where you know there's going to be less people there. But instead you want to go to the Caribbean. I'm waiting for an explanation. I am waiting for an explanation because I don't understand. I seriously don't understand your level of stupidity. Let me say it again for some of you at the back. I don't understand your raw stupidity. Like, I want to see my grandmother so badly. The one here and my grandma in Barbados, but I can't because of their age. I literally can't. And as much as I would love to, I'd rather not put them at risk. I'd rather not put them at risk. I have friends in Barbados as well who I'd love to see, but I can't see them either. I can't see them either. And I'm choosing to do this to keep them safe. But maybe it's because you don't have no tie. Maybe it's because you don't have no ties to the Caribbean. So maybe, it's not personal for you. But the simple fact is, you live in the UK, you have family members here in the UK, and yeah, it doesn't seem to be personal for you here either. I don't even have the words for the level of stupidity that has infected your spirits. I really don't. Can we please stop going to the Caribbean? Can we stop it now? Stop going to Barbados, stop going to Jamaica, stop going to Antigua and Barbuda, stop going to St. Kitts and Nevis, stop going to Trinidad and Tobago. Stop it. Keep your ass at home, stand in your yard. Because all you're doing is just making it harder for people who live there. You forgetting people live there 24/7. They don't have an escape. They don't have an escape. You can go on holiday and then you can bounce back home. That is their home. That you're infecting with that virus. And fair enough, if you go on holiday and you tested negative and you stay in a quarantine and you do what you're supposed to do and you test negative again on the second test, that is fair enough. But my issue is with people who have tested positive when they arrived on the island and then they're breaking quarantine when they know they're supposed to stay in quarantine. You are breaking quarantine. And then spreading this shit all over the fucking island. And not only are you breaking quarantine, but you are also attending the events. You're also attending the events. that are being held in Barbados or whatever other islands. You're attending these events and exposing the residents of those islands to that same disease, to that same virus. And then if they have a massive outbreak, how the fuck do you expect them to handle that? This is what I want you to understand. How do you expect them to handle that? And what's really irritated me about the whole Zara Holland situation is she could have just easily stayed in quarantine. She could have easily stayed in quarantine. You didn't have to bounce out of quarantine just because your boyfriend tested positive for COVID. So fucking what? You could have stayed your ass in quarantine. It would have been better for you. Instead, you decided to break out. Even though you had a designated facility which is designed so that the residents of the islands can stay safe and you will also get the treatment that you need. But no, you decided to brook out as if you're in Mission Impossible. Do people not have common sense these days? Honestly, do you not have common sense these days? Do you not think that if your boyfriend has tested positive and you break out of quarantine, that's a massive issue? Like, I'm so fucking vexed. It's really pissed me off. I'm honestly really, really pissed off about it. I really am. And contrary to popular belief, not a lot pisses me off. But when I see people doing stupidness, when I see people doing racism, when I see people doing colonialism 2.0, because this is exactly what I'm saying. You know, like, you know when you have those tribes or those indigenous people and you see how they're doing fine for like over 2,000, 3,000 years? And then along comes a white person who decides to be fast and then them people die out. It happened in Brazil, actually. It happened in Brazil with COVID. Like, there was an indigenous tribe. They were perfectly fine until people decided to fast up themselves, and then they ended up, and then COVID basically wiped out a whole lot of them. Why won't you people stay at home? Why won't you people stay at home? Because, to be honest, travel is not a necessity, and I think even traveling for work is not a necessity. It's really not. If you wanna take pictures at a beach, you can go to fucking Bournemouth. Okay, you can go to Blackpool and freeze your fucking ass off. Okay, traveling abroad is not a necessity. It's really not a necessity. So, like, do better, please. Do fucking better, because I've had literally enough. I've seen the foolishness that you people keep doing all the time. I've literally had enough. Keep your asses out the Caribbean. Alright, I gone.